coming up on BCN today. President Donald Trump acquitted by the Senate. Plus, a chartered plane getting set to take 211 Canadian passengers out of Wuhan, China. And we speak with a professor from the U of C about the dangers associated with cannabis products.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, thanks for joining us. U.S. President Donald Trump will not be leaving the White House. The U.S. Senate has acquitted Trump on both impeachment charges. The charges stem from an alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. Republicans turned back an attempt by the House Democrats to remove him from office for pressuring a foreign power to incriminate his political rivals. The total number of votes for conviction fell well below the 67-vote threshold necessary for removal.
The Senate, having tried Donald John Trump, President of the United States, upon 2 articles of impeachment exhibited against him by the House of Representatives, and 2/3 of the senators present not having found him guilty of the charges contained therein, it is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby, acquitted of the charges in said articles.
And south of the border, Americans reacted to Trump's acquittal.
It just makes me despondent and makes me want to cry. We're sitting here listening to this right now, and every time I hear not guilty, I feel this pang of this is not what Washington and Hamilton and Adams and Jefferson and Madison had in mind.
I saw that the Democratic Party was absolutely obsessed with nonsense, and it cost me and you, the taxpayers, millions of dollars in wasted time.
A Canadian charter plane is getting set to take an expected 211 Canadian passengers out of Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the novel coronavirus outbreak. The Canadian military will have medical staff screen the Canadian evacuees before they board and during the flight to Trenton, Ontario, via Vancouver. All of those aboard, including the flight crew, will then be quarantined for 2 weeks at Trenton's military base. Foreign Affairs Minister François-Philippe Champagne says the government is looking at other options for nearly 200 other Canadians who have asked for help getting out of China. He says the government has secured space on board a U.S. plane to evacuate a few dozen Canadians from the Chinese city of Wuhan.
We now have secured a few seats on the flights organized by the United States authorities. Individuals who are eligible for travel on these flights are being contacted as we speak by our consular officials in Wuhan. This plane is currently scheduled to depart Wuhan a few hours after the Canadian plane. It will land first in Vancouver, where Canadian passengers will disembark for onward travel to CFB Trenton, where they will be subject to the same processes as those Canadians traveling on the Canadian flight.
When you say a few people, how many do you mean?
A few dozen, because this is obviously fluctuating. We have been talking to the U.S. State Department. As I said to you this morning, the priority that I have with Minister Aidu is obviously to care for Canadians and to repatriate all those who want to be repatriated, and to do that in an orderly fashion and to do that as quickly as possible. So obviously we'll have our Canadian plane, but at the same time, as I said all along, we are talking to allies, and now we had an offer by the U.S. State Department who's going to have a plane which will be departing shortly after our own plane to put a number of Canadians on board.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says the government is also working with Japanese authorities as 251 Canadians are among thousands of people now quarantined on a cruise ship where many of the passengers are afflicted with the coronavirus. The ship is currently off the coast of Japan.
There is a narrow window given by the Chinese for flights into Wuhan, and the weather conditions were such that the plane couldn't take off, so everything's delayed by a day. We're hoping to have these families back on Friday. We understand for loved ones here in Canada, for the families over there, that it's extremely difficult. We are engaged with the Japanese government in terms of how we can provide support for the Canadians. We're trying to get more information about the situation right now, but we're very much engaged. And again, we want to reassure the families both on the cruise ship that we are alert and engaged in their issue. We are working very closely with the World Health Organization, and Dr. Theresa Tam, our public health officer, is up on all the latest research.
China has finished building a second new hospital in Wuhan to treat the patients of coronavirus, which has now killed more than 560 people. China is moving people with milder symptoms to makeshift hospitals, sports centers, and other public spaces. Over 28,000 cases of the flu-like respiratory illness, have been confirmed worldwide, and the city of Wuhan, where the outbreak began, has become overwhelmed. In the meantime, China is expected to start testing a new antiviral drug on a first group of patients. The Alberta Chief Medical Officer of Health says that there is no probable or confirmed corona cases in Alberta. Many health experts say the best way to protect yourself from viruses is still by washing your hands. Dr. Vivian Satorp with Alberta Health Services says it's important to prevent the spread of viruses.
Prevention is quite similar for all the respiratory illnesses. Influenza, there's vaccine, and vaccine is still available. A note, if you've had one influenza strain and have been ill with it, you can still get the other strains that are circulating. That is a little bit unique this year, is that we have 3 different strains circulating all at the same time. So it's not too late to get your flu vaccine. Secondly, if you're sick, stay home. Or if your little one is sick with RSV, stay home and keep the germs at home, and return back to work or to play once you're able to do so. Wash your hands really well. Hand washing, you can't undermine the importance of hand hygiene. Also, obviously, cough etiquette. If you're coughing your sleeve or in a tissue, and wash your hands afterwards.
NDP leader Rachel Notley is urging the province to rethink its plan to end drug plan benefits for spouses and dependents of seniors starting March 1st under the Seniors Drug Benefit Program. Right now, Albertans aged 65 or older, their spouses and dependents, regardless of age, get help covering the costs of prescription drugs. Alberta says ending the subsidy for spouses and dependents will save $36 million a year on the $600 million program. But Notley says without the coverage, low-income seniors will have to do without or try to sign up for other group coverage despite being on tight fixed incomes, adding that if they don't get the prescription drugs that they need, they'll end up hospitalized in the long run or in long-term care, and that will cost the province even more money. Cannabis. It's a plant that many Canadians use for health reasons, but what about the side effects? Jacqueline Smith is the Director of Mental Health and Wellness in the Faculty of Nursing at the University of Calgary. She says people really need to do proper research and educate themselves before even considering using cannabis.
You have to be a very informed consumer. You have to be very, very careful about the research. I can tell you that there's a lot of profiteering going on, and that panacea effect, there's people making a lot of money on products, topical as an example, creams for your skin. There's no strong evidence to suggest that these products are actually effective, but people are paying a lot of money for these products.
Professor Smith will have more on the pros and cons of using cannabis coming up later in the show. An autopsy will be performed Friday to establish how a Saskatchewan man reported missing in Calgary died. Police believe the body discovered in a rural area north of Airdrie is that of Sheldon Wolfe from Carrot River, Saskatchewan. Wolfe was last seen leaving a downtown Calgary hotel on Sunday and was reported missing on Tuesday. Police say the death is considered suspicious and is being investigated by the homicide unit. Last weekend, a Lethbridge family suffered the loss of their 2 St. Bernard dogs to an alleged poisoning incident. We spoke to a local veterinarian who sheds some light on what to look for or what to look out for to keep your pets safe.
What you're looking for is anything out of the ordinary. When they're in the backyard, make sure your backyard is secure. do go out and police the backyard and keep them on leash, especially in areas that you're not familiar with. And if there are any suspicious signs, drooling, agitation, abnormal behavior, lethargy, that's where you'd want to call the ASPCA pet poison control line or get in touch with your local veterinarian.
A new program at the University of Lethbridge encouraging employment opportunities for students with disabilities is starting thanks to a large donation from CIBC. The CIBC Navigator program is a 5-year initiative that's been made possible thanks to a $250,000 gift. A spokesperson with the U of L says this donation will help students find jobs in their industry.
We're very excited to be able to take the donation from CIBC to be able to build toolkits for our students and for our employer success. So we have been doing co-op here at the University of Lethbridge for quite a good amount of time, and for us to now be able to invest some resources into building inclusivity as well as the tools for our students with disabilities to be successful in the workplace is a tremendous opportunity. We're very excited about it.
One main benefit is that it is paid full-time work, so students get to earn competitive wages in different fields that they will be working in. Also, students are able to build all sorts of skills. So I find myself putting into practice my organizational skills, time management skills, technical skills, depending on the kind of job that the students will be doing.
The money is part of U of L's Shine campaign, which encourages new partnerships with students to help them with their academic future. The City of Lethbridge has received recommendations on upgrades the Lethbridge Airport needs. The city's manager of real estate and land development, Michael Kelly, says it's all about ensuring long-term success for the airport.
The operational review turned up that the people, our staff out there are doing a great job. Some minor best practice improvements to happen out there. But as important was the pathway to the future. They gave us great food for thought. These guys have over 30 years experience managing airports all around the world, small and large. And they gave us some great ideas moving forward, but they also gave us the document moving forward, step by step almost of how to be successful with our investments in the future.
After 22 years, the City of Lethbridge took over control of the airport from Lethbridge County in June of 2018. Well, Environment Canada has issued special weather statements for all 4 eastern Atlantic provinces, but here in southern Alberta, it looks like we could see some more flurries coming up this weekend. I will have weather for you after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Here's a look at our weather highlights for today and tomorrow in Lethbridge. We could be seeing a chance of flurries today with a high of 3 degrees and a low overnight of -9. Into tomorrow, we'll be seeing still some plus temperatures there. 1 degrees is the high. We're going to be seeing a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. And then into Saturday, brace ourselves. We could be seeing some flurries again coming at us. -3 is the high on Saturday. Then it's going to rise to 2 degrees on Sunday and lots of sunshine expected for Monday with a high of 1 degree. We're going to climb a bit more on Tuesday, but we're going to anticipate some precipitation early next week in the form of rain on Tuesday and snow on Wednesday, where the temperature is going to drop to -9. The average highs and lows for this time of year, 0 being the high, -12 the low. We are staying in that range and at times even going a bit above that. 18 degrees was the high temperature on this day in 1963, and the lowest temperature was back in 1994. It was a chilly -28. The sun rose this morning at 7:57 a.m. and it will set at 5:33 p.m. Okay, so looking across the nation to the highs across Canada today. Over on the west coast, showers are expected. Victoria's high 7 degrees, 6-degree high expected in Vancouver. 3 degrees is expected to be the high in Calgary as well as Edmonton. We are expecting some flurries in both of those cities, as well as across the rest of the prairies. Saskatoon's high -10, -9 expected in Regina, and -13 over in Winnipeg with snow there as well. Looking further east into Toronto, They should be seeing some flurries there as well. -2 is the high, -5 in Ottawa, and -6 is expected today in Montreal. This whole region seeing snow today, in fact, everywhere across Canada from the prairies eastward. In fact, over in Atlantic Canada, all 4 provinces have been issued special weather statements by Environment Canada. They are expecting heavy snowfall throughout Newfoundland and Labrador, and for the rest of Atlantic provinces there, we're going to be seeing snow pellets and snow and just really high precipitation over there. There you go. That is your weather. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News community calendar. Wordbridge is hosting the 2nd annual Lethbridge Writing Conference, taking place February 7th and 8th. The conference will feature Order of Canada recipient and award-winning author Robert J. Sawyer and local author Thorsten Nesch. Learn everything you want to know about writing from professional writers. For details about the full schedule, visit wordbridgeconference.com, and for tickets, visit eventbrite.ca. Come for a night of down-home fun to the Friends Winter Barn Dance on Saturday, March 7th, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Galt Museum and Archives. Wear your best Western hat and boots and dance the night away. Proceeds will go towards educational programs at the Galt. Tickets are $30 for adults, $20 for youth ages 11 to 17, and children 10 and under are free. Purchase yours by visiting galtmuseum.com. Celebrate Recovery is a Christ-centered recovery program for any hurt, hang-up, and habit. This group meets Friday nights at the Park Meadows Baptist Church. The evening begins at 7 p.m. with small group sessions at 8, followed by coffee and dessert at 9. For more information, visit celebraterecovery.ca. And that's your Bridge City News community calendar.
Well, there actually is such thing as a free lunch after all. And today's daily life hack will help you make that reality for some of you. Before dropping your business card in a bowl used for those free lunch draws, make a distinct bend in it. You'll have a much larger chance of being picked over all the other ones that lay flat. There you go. That's been your daily life hack. I think that would work for almost any draw, wouldn't it? Out of Hollywood, actor Kirk Douglas has died at the ripe old age of 103. He was known for his roles in Spartacus, The Vikings, and Lust for Love. He received 3 Oscar nominations and was also known for producing and directing. He's also, of course, the father of actor Michael Douglas.
Kirk Douglas, star of Spartacus, has died at 103. Douglas was nominated 3 times for Oscars for Champion, The Bad and the Beautiful, and Lust for Life. He later received an honorary award for 50 years as a creative and moral force in the movie industry. Stars have paid tribute to the actor, and his son Michael called him a legend.
Here's a funny one. An Australian reporter said she was terrified after a snake draped around her shoulders and repeatedly struck at her microphone. Sarah Cott said she had the snake wrapped around her as she did a snake safety report.
I wish you wore a red dress.
You just bit my microphone.
I'll just stay still. Yeah. That's it, just keep the mic nice and still. It's just because it's right in front of his face, that's all.
He's biting my microphone, what do I do?
You'll be right. It's just the mic that he's seeing.
But what if he sees my hand?
No, there we go. He's just... There we go. All right.
You're waiting again?
Good to go.
Ready?
Yep.
Well, they might not be everyone's cup of tea. Most of the time, snakes are more scared of you than you are of them. And if possible, it's recommended to just leave them be and let them pass through. My cameraman and this snake handler just stood there. They thought it was hilarious, but it calmed down and I ended up getting the shot that I needed for my package. And then as soon as that was done, I said to the snake handler, get it off me.
A Samaritans Purse team recently performed more than 200 eye operations at Maban County Hospital in South Sudan. Maban County Hospital, where the surgeries were performed, serves about 200,000 people, of which nearly 150 are refugees displaced during the country's many years of war and violence. The hospital, built and supported by Samaritans Purse, is the only full-service referral health facility in the entire region.
Blindness is very prevalent in this population simply because there's no eye doctors in this region. So we're here at the Mabon County Hospital at a refugee camp to do cataract surgery. One of the great things about cataract surgery is it can be done by a skilled surgeon in 10 or 15 minutes. So we've come to relieve some of the burden of blindness that could be treatable. For an operation that takes only 10 minutes, you can have an amazing improvement in a person's vision. I never get tired of taking the patch off the patient the next day, because when we see the smiles on their faces and they can look at family members, that's so wonderful. And it's just been thrilling to be able to help more than 200 people this week. We have really been able to serve them in the name of Christ and give them a tangible improvement in their life.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is defending giving MasterCard $50 million to help set up a cybersecurity center in Vancouver. Toronto journalist Brian Lilly says that many Canadians have a problem with it. Brian will also have details on who the Ipsos poll believes should become the new leader of the federal Conservatives. That's coming up in the second half of our show. Stay with us.